Hey kids, I hope you're all doing very well. My name's Jonathan and I'm super excited to be doing your story for today. Today we're going to be learning about Jacob and Esau and their story in the Bible. Now, Jacob and Esau, they were twins. Esau was the older one. Their dad was called Isaac and their mom was called Rebecca. And we're going to be learning about lying, deceiving, and how God can still use these things at the end of the day for his plan. Now, we're going to be reading from Genesis chapter 25, verse 27, and I will tell you if we go to a different passage. When the boys grew up, Esau became an expert hunter, an outdoorsman, but Jacob was a quiet man who stayed at home. Isaac loved Esau because he had a taste for wild meat, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once when Jacob was cooking a stew, Esau came in from the field exhausted. He said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stuff, because I'm exhausted." That is why he was also named Edom. Jacob replied, "First sell me your birthright." "Look," said Esau, "I am about to die, so what good is a birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore to Jacob and sold his birthright to him. Then Jacob gave bread and lentil stew to Esau. He ate, drank, got up, and went away. So Esau despised his birthright. Now, there's quite a few things in the story that we can pick up, like Esau being liked by his dad because he's more active, and his mom liking Jacob because he's more quiet. But one of the things that I want to pick up or pick out of this story is how Esau trades away something that's very important for something that he just wanted in the moment, right? And I'm sure some of you might have wanted something really badly. If you're super hungry, you say, "I'll do anything to eat now," right? Or maybe you really wanted an Xbox and you're like, "Mom, I'll do anything for this." Maybe it's like a phone or a toy that you really wanted when you're in the shop. Like, "I'll do anything for this," right? But you don't really mean it. And your birthright was very important to them back in those old days, right? The birthright belonged to the oldest son in the family. And when your dad passes away, he's going to bless you before he dies, and all the blessings and the responsibilities and the inheritance of the family goes to you. And it must have been such an honor and a privilege to be the leader of like the whole family, right? So having the birthright was very special to them back then. And obviously it's going to take a long while before Isaac grows up, or sorry, not Isaac, before Esau grows up and grows into that birthright. So maybe he was thinking, it's not something that's ever going to happen, or maybe it's still too long away. And he was thinking, "I'm so hungry," and he says, "I'm about to die. So what good is a birthright to me?" And I think he was being a bit dramatic there as well. Like, he just got home from the field. He can wait a bit before he eats or makes himself some food, but rather he wants that food right now, immediately, and he trades away something so important for it. Now, Jacob was trying to deceive him out of it, and he said to sell him the birthright for the food. Now, that's not something that's fair. I think none of us will say like, "Hey, I'll give you some food if you give me your phone, or if you give me your car," or something like that. Like, obviously the one is a bit more valuable than the other one. But for Esau, right then, right there, he decided to choose what's instantly gratifying rather than what will be best for him in the long run. And it's pretty cool because when they were born, God actually predicted that this would happen. And obviously God knows everything, and this was all part of his plan. In chapter 25, a bit back, verse 23, Rebecca was talking to God when she was conceiving the children. And God said to her, "Two nations are in your womb. Two people will come from you and be separated. One will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." So obviously if you're the head of the family, like, everyone in the family is almost going to serve you and you're going to be in charge. And here it says the older will serve the younger. So the younger one's going to end up having that birthright and the family responsibility. So we can see this little interaction that happened, and obviously they went on with their lives. Maybe Esau forgot about it, or they pretended to forget about it. And we get to chapter 27 when Isaac was old. And chapter 27, verse 1, it says, "When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could not see, he called his son Esau and said to him, 'My son?' And he answered, 'Here I am.' He said, 'Look, I am old and do not know the day of my death. So now take your hunting gear, your quiver and bow, and go out in the field to go get some meat for me. Then make me a delicious meal so that I love, and bring it to me so that I can bless you before I die.'" So here we see that Isaac doesn't know about the fact that he's supposed to be blessing Jacob instead of Esau. And Esau decides to listen to his dad instead of keeping true to his promise of having Jacob get the birthright and the blessing. He decides to take it for himself and to ignore this promise that he made to Jacob. That's not right. But now we're going to see how Jacob and Rebekah messes up as well. And Rebekah was listening to what Isaac said to his son Esau. So while Esau went to the field to hunt some game to bring in, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "Listen, I have heard your father talking to your brother Esau. He said, 'Bring me some meat and make a delicious meal for me to eat so that I can bless you in the Lord's presence before I die.' Now, my son, listen to me and do what I tell you. Go to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats, and I will make them into a delicious meal for your father, just the kind he loves. Then take it to your father to eat so that he may bless you before he dies." So now they're trying to steal away this blessing from Esau that he wants, and they're both trying to get this blessing that actually belongs to Jacob, but now they're trying to cheat Esau out of it, and it's just this whole mess. Jacob answered Rebekah his mother, and he said, "Look, my brother Esau's a hairy man, but I am a man with smooth skin. Suppose my father touches me. Then I will be revealed to him as a deceiver and bring a curse rather than a blessing on me." And his mother said to him, "Your curse will be on me, my son. Just obey me and go get them for me." So he went and got the goats and brought them to his mother, and his mother made the delicious food his father loves. Then Rebekah took the best clothes of her son Esau, which were in the house, and had her younger son Jacob wear them. Then she put the skins of the young goats on his hands and the smooth part of his neck. Then she handed the delicious food and the bread she made to her son Jacob. So we can see how all out they're going, and they're putting like the goat skin on their hands and their neck so he would be more hairy, and they're making him wear his brother's clothes so he would smell like his brother, all to deceive their father into thinking that he is actually Esau. And another thing that would come out of this is now their dad will try to bless Esau and bless him instead, and the blessings would still be for who their dad thinks was Esau instead of for Jacob. So you can see later when Isaac blesses Jacob, he gets blessings that was actually meant to be for Esau. So when he came to his father, he said, "My father." And he answered, "Here I am. Who are you, my son?" Jacob replied to his father, "I am Esau, the firstborn. I have done as you have told me. Please sit up and eat some of my meat so that you may bless me." And Isaac said to his son, "How did you find it so quickly, my son?" And he replied, "Because the Lord God made it happen for me." That's a complete lie, right? Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Please come closer so that I can touch you, my son. Are you really my son Esau or not?" Remember that their dad was blind and he couldn't see properly anymore. So this is all a big plan to try to deceive him. So Jacob came closer to his father Isaac. When he touched him, he said, "The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau." So he blessed him. Again he asked, "Are you really my son Esau?" And he replied, "I am." Then he said, "Bring it closer to me, and let me eat some of my son's game that I can bless you." Jacob brought it closer to him, and he ate, and he brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Please come closer and kiss me, my son." So he came closer and kissed him. When Isaac smelled his clothes, he blessed him and said, "Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. May God give to you from the dew of the sky and from the richness of the land an abundance of grain and new wine. May people serve you, may nations bow in worship to you. Be master over your relatives. May your mother's sons bow in worship to you, and curse those, and who curse you will be cursed, and who bless you will be blessed. As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob has left the presence of his father Isaac, his brother Esau arrived from his hunting. Now this is becoming a whole mess. He had also made some delicious food and brought it to his father. And he said to his father, "Let my father get up and eat some of his son's game, so that you may bless me." But his father Isaac said to him, "Who are you?" He answered, "I am Esau, your firstborn son." Isaac began to tremble uncontrollably. "Who was it then who hunted game and brought it to me? I ate it all before you came in, and I blessed him. Indeed, he will be blessed." So now he gave his blessing to Jacob, but now Esau wants the blessing too, and there's just this whole mess. And we end up, the dad and Esau, realizing what had happened, and Esau vows that he's going to go kill Jacob and take that blessing from him. And Jacob ends up having to flee away, all because he didn't do what was right. And we can see how they were trying to make what God had said happen without obeying God and just doing what they're supposed to do. They were trying to take matters into their own hand. Now, we see all throughout the Bible that God always makes his plans come true, and we don't have to do anything that God doesn't want us to do to try force his plans to be true. We can see Abraham also trying to have a son with his other wife to try and make God's plan come true, but in the end, God always does something the way that he wanted to do it. And something we can learn from this story is that lies and deceiving is not part of God's plan, but God can still use it. In the end, Jacob did get the birthright, and he did end up becoming the head of the family, right? But he had to flee away and have years of struggling afterwards just because he didn't do it honestly and the way that he should have done it. So what we can learn out of the story is be honest, don't deceive people, and remember what is most important.